Hello, everyone. My name is Ravi Budruk. I'm a vice president and also a technical engineer presenter at MindShare. I wanted to give you a good understanding of what MindShare, the training company, does. And so these next 5 to 10 minutes will focus on our offerings, our training offerings to our customer base. MindShare, as I said, is a highly technical training company that focuses on the computer industry. We have training engineers who specialize in Intel architecture, ARM architecture, memory technologies, firmware technology. We have some programming classes and training classes on computer architecture, I/O buses, security courses, courses on virtualization, training, and storage architecture. When it comes to Intel architecture, we're experts on Intel's latest processors. Then with ARM, we focus on the A processors and the M processors. Memory technology-wise, we have training courses on DDR technology as well as LPDDR technology. In a few months, we will have a new memory architecture training course on high bandwidth memory. This will be available in 2 to 3 months. Firmware technology-wise, we teach UEFI. Programming-wise, we have classes on OpenCL specifically, but also teach Python. This is our key area of training. We are the experts on CXL technology training classes, Compute Express Link. We have recently updated our PCIe course to cover PCI Express 6.0. We have been teaching for the last 20 years PCI Express, all the way from generation 1 PCI Express up until today's PCI Express 6.0. In fact, a few weeks ago, we have updated the course to include all of the 6.1 updates. We also teach USB technology, including USB 4, USB 3.2, and 3.1. We train on x86 controllers, and sometime later this year, we will release our UCIe 1.0 course. UCIe is, of course, a new specification, and so this course is in development. One of the latest additions to both CXL and PCIe specifications is the security section of the specification. And last month, which is January, we released both PCIe security courses and CXL security courses. And I must say that the content includes the security additions in the 6.0 PCIe spec, as well as the 3.0 CXL spec. From virtualization technology standpoint, we have an I/O virtualization course that covers both Intel platforms and ARM platforms. We also describe virtualization from the processor angle. So we have an Intel virtualization course as well as an ARM processor virtualization course. That is to say, we cover virtualization both from a I/O perspective, PCIe side, as well as from the processor side. Storage architecture-wise, we have courses on NVMe, Non-Volatile Memory Express, UFS. The course has been updated to the latest 4.0 UFS specification, SATA, as well as SAS, which are older storage technology architectures. Anyway, this slide essentially gives you a sense of all of the areas that MindShare has a lot of technical training. Our courses range from one-day fundamental level, overview level classes, all the way to 5-day in-depth courses that a design engineer or board debug engineer might be interested in. Now, I wanted to focus on some of our key offerings rather than delve into every one of these courses and what they cover. I'm just going to be focusing on 3 or 4 key courses that we have to offer your client base. Those include CXL, PCIe, memory technologies like DDR and high bandwidth memory. So let's get started. First off, if you're interested in taking training from MindShare, you have choices of taking the training in-house, in person, where a MindShare instructor would come to your facility and deliver the training. We require about 15 or more students in the class to make this cost effective to everyone. We can also deliver the training virtually via Zoom or WebEx, whatever tool you prefer. And the advantage being, of course, that we can divide the class up into half-day classes rather than full-day classes, as well as we can combine multiple facilities, multiple time zones, including international and within the US time zones. Provides a lot of flexibility to be able to take a class as a virtual classroom course with the instructor present, obviously, to deliver. Then we have the third offering, which is the asynchronous, self-paced, recorded e-learning courses that allows the most flexibility. You can be an individual or a few people. If you don't have the minimum class size that is required for a classroom level course, well, e-learning might be the best option that allows an individual to take the training over the 90-day license period with a 30-day extension, if you will, if you wish to have an extension. So our courses are recorded. You go online to MindShare's website, pay for the course with your credit card, and the course shows up in your account. You hit play and listen and learn over the 90-day licensing period. We also offer, by the way, public classes once every quarter. If you go to the MindShare's website, you'll see these public classes offered in CXL, PCIe, USB, as well as memory technology courses. Of course, your schedule must permit you to be able to take the class on that said week that we have advertised. And these classes will be typically 4 to 5 day, 9 to 5 o'clock p.m. Or Pacific time classes. So anyway, these are the modes or methods by which we train our customers. MindShare, by the way, also writes books. And most of you may be already familiar with the fact that we have a PCI Express technology book or ebook that you can purchase from our website or through Amazon, and use the book as a reference to learning PCI Express technology. Some of the other subjects we offer books on include SATA, SAS, x86, Intel architecture, USB technology. You may ask, what about CXL? Unfortunately, we do not plan a book on CXL technology or any of our memory technology courses. So please check online, mindshare.com or Amazon, if you would like to purchase our book, or a hard copy book, or a PDF ebook from the website. All right, let's start off by looking at our CXL course offerings. This course will be of great interest given CXL technology is being now used in many of the memory technology and memory architectures. So online at MindShare's website, you can search through our menu, training course menu, and get to the page that describes our CXL course offerings. We have an in-depth class that covers CXL 3.0 specification. It's an in-depth 5-day class if we teach it in person, but as a virtual classroom course, we can teach it both as a 5 full-day class or 10 half-day class. This course would go both into the port architecture details as well as CXL switch design details. If you already know CXL 2.0 and you just want to know the differences between 2.0 and 3.0, we have a CXL 3.0 update course that is a shorter 2-day class. And if you're really not going to be needing the speeds and the features of CXL 3.0 and CXL 2.0 is sufficient, of an architecture to understand. Then we just have a CXL 2.0 course, both one that covers switch architecture and one that excludes switch architecture. The courses come bundled with e-learning so that any topics not covered in class, as well as topics that we could not cover in a class, can be self-studied through the e-learning course that is bundled with the CXL training class that we will provide you. So now what does the CXL course cover? This slide lists out all the topics covered in a 5-day CXL 3.0 course. We spend a day on describing the features and architectural overview of CXL, the use cases, the platform architecture, the communication model between the host and the CXL type 1, type 2, or type 3 devices. We don't get into the low-level details on the first day, but then with each subsequent day, we start getting to the port architecture design level details. Our courses, I must say, are highly suitable for design engineers who will be designing a CXL port or a CXL-based chip, both host or device side, based on ground-up design, or if you're using one of the Synopsys or Cadence IPs, you'll get to understand what does each layer of a CXL port do. So then we get into, on the subsequent days, details on what is the function of the transaction layer, which is managing the protocol. What is the function of the link layer, CXL link layer, which is error handling, error recovery, and flow control. What does the ARBMUX layer do, which includes combining both CXL.cache, CXL.mem, and CXL.io protocols so that your split packet stream of what is transported on a CXL link includes all of these 3 protocols multiplexed based on a weighted round-robin arbiter. Then we have a day that focuses on the physical layer architecture. How do flits get striped on the link? What is a multi-lane link? How does a CXL link get trained? The LTSSM state machine differences between CXL and PCIe. We then talk about resets, the various forms of resets. And then on the last day of the training, we cover some power management topics, error handling with CXL, how does a CXL platform get enumerated, and then we get into register level details, which CXL software engineers would benefit from. Most of our earlier content is focused on hardware architecture related details, and then we get into the software and register related details on the last day where we describe registers. Now, our course optionally contains switch architecture details. Switch architecture details requires a full day, and it can either fit within the 5-day class, or we might have to cut out another topics which can be self-learned using e-learning in order to cover the switch level details. Very few companies might be interested in switch level details. Those companies that design switches would benefit from this section of the course. But if you're not working with the switch design at all, you don't need this topic to be covered, and we only focus on the earlier topics. So as you can see, there's a lot of low-level, spec-level details covered in our 5 days. We can, of course, customize the course to fit your needs and focus on those topics that benefit you and skip the topics that you're not interested in. We also have, by the way, a fundamentals level CXL course. If you're really not that interested in the low-level technical details, maybe you're a management or a team leader or an FAE engineer that needs to understand the buzzwords, the overall system level architecture, but not the low-level details, then this fundamentals 1.5-day course would be good for you. We cover the same features on architecture overview as the in-depth class, but for all the other layers, we go through just an overview rather than the low-level details. That way, within 1.5 days, you get a solid foundational understanding of CXL architecture, right? Now, the way the CXL courses have been designed, our assumption is you understand PCI Express architecture to a great extent, because CXL builds on PCIe. So we expect that in order to understand the CXL course, you know a lot about PCIe, and then the CXL course becomes beneficial. If you don't know PCIe well, we do have PCIe fundamentals courses or PCIe courses that you can take before coming into CXL training. As I mentioned, we have a recorded version of the CXL course that is suitable for an individual that can't book a live training class for which we need 15 to more students. You can self-learn at the time you want over a 3-month period. This is a recorded CXL course that covers the CXL 2.0 architecture. You can purchase the course online for the price advertised here by going to the MindShare website and clicking on the e-learning courses. You will see the CXL course advertised. This is a 2.0 course, as I said. The 3.0 course is being recorded and will be offered in a couple of months. So by April of this year, 2024, we will have the CXL 3.0 update class that covers the differences, the additions, if you will, from 2.0 to 3.0. The course will be again available in the April timeframe. It isn't available at this point as I am currently recording that class. We do have also a CXL fundamentals e-learning course. If you're not interested in the design level details, this is a shorter course of a lower price that will take approximately 1 day to 1.5 days for you to go through this fundamentals course. If you were to play the course continuously and listen and learn by yourself, you should budget a day to day and a half to complete this course, the fundamentals CXL course. All right. For those interested in CXL security, we have a separate 2-day security course, 2 or 3 days CXL security course. The audience that might want to take this class is a smaller audience. I don't expect the majority of the folks trying to understand CXL being interested in CXL security, but if you are interested in CXL security, this would be a 2 full day or 3 day, depending on the content you want covered. We don't have an e-learning recording of this CXL security course at this point. It's not planned, perhaps till the end of the year. End of the year is when we will record the CXL security course. Now, as I mentioned, you do need to understand PCI Express in order to understand CXL. So we also have PCIe-related classes that I wanted to introduce you to in case you need to learn PCIe first before taking CXL classes. So we have a PCIe 6.0 course that has been recently updated. It will require 5 full days of training, but you will also need to self-learn with our PCI Express 5.0 e-learning because there are some topics that we just can't cover in 5 days that we have to relegate to the e-learning self-paced course. So what you would do is learn some content by yourself with the e-learning and then come into the 5-day class in order to fully understand 6.0, PCIe 6.0. Some of our customers don't really need to know 6.0 at this point. They're only working with 5.0, PCIe 5. And so we have a PCIe 5.0 course that's also 5 days. And if you want to just understand the differences between 5 and 6, given that 6 is new and you might already know PCIe 5, then we have the PCIe 6.0 update course that is a 3-day course. Notice the duration is 3 days, meaning that PCIe 6 is actually quite complex relative to 5. There is a lot of information added between 5 and 6, and it requires 3 full days of training to get through all those additions. And if you're a software engineer that really doesn't need to understand the low-level details of PCIe, but need to understand how enumeration works, what are the registers in order to initialize a PCIe device or host, we have a PCIe course for software engineers. We also have the fundamentals of PCIe suitable for managers and team leaders, which is a one-day PCIe course, short course that is. And as you'd expect, we have recorded these PCIe courses in the form of an e-learning. So we have a PCIe 5.0 e-learning that is available on our website to allow you to self-learn over 90 days, PCIe 5. We also have the PCIe 6 update e-learning course that was just released in January. Actually, I should say that the advertisement has been released in January. We have a pre-order PCIe 6 update price, a discounted price of $795. But this e-learning course will be available March 1st week. And at that time, the price goes to $995. But do expect on March 1st week that this PCIe 6.0 update course will be released. If you want to learn PCIe 6 from scratch, you will first need to learn PCIe 5 and then come to the PCIe 6 update e-learning course thereafter. You will need to budget 2 weeks of full days in order to self-learn this subject. You can, of course, spread it out over the months, but that's the time you need to budget, is 2 full weeks to learn 5 and 6. And then we have a fundamentals of PCIe course, which is the short course on PCIe, an introduction to PCIe. Then we have a PCIe security course. Just like we have a CXL security course, we also have released a PCIe security course. This class is a 3 full-day class. It has also been recorded. The audience for this course is smaller than the audience for the full-fledged PCIe course. The PCIe course doesn't cover security topics. You will need to understand security through a separate course, which is what we're offering here. A brand new course also released late last year. And the recording of this class is also available, just released last month. And that's your PCIe security course. It has been updated to all of the content from the PCIe 6.0 spec. And this is available online. Switching gears, we have a variety of memory architecture related courses. So we have finished discussing the bus protocol, IO bus protocol related classes of interest to you, namely CXL and PCIe. Here we will talk about our memory architecture related offerings at MindShare. First course offering is our DDR LPDDR course that covers DDR5 LPDDR5. This course is an in-depth 4-day class, which can also be split into 8 half days if you choose to book this class as a virtual classroom course. Again, here we need about 15 engineers in order to book a class in-house or as a virtual classroom course. We do offer a DDR4 LPDDR4 course in case you're interested in the older technology, but we find that our customers have moved on to DDR5 LPDDR5, and that's why we describe here the DDR5 LPDDR5. But you could still book a DDR4 LPDDR4 course if you wish. And if you're just looking for an introduction to DRAM technology as a manager, team leader, or you're evaluating DDR technology, we have a fundamentals 1-day class that is an introduction to memory architecture technology. This course has been recorded as an e-learning self-paced course. It is available through our website. Again, go to the e-learning section of the MindShare website and you will see this course advertised. It is a recording of the class, full 4-day class. Plus, it has additional content that can't be covered in 4 days. So we've recorded quite a bit more than we can afford teaching in a live class. Consider this DDR5 LPDDR5 course. And then there's the fundamentals of DRAM e-learning also that has been recorded. Now, our latest memory course offering is the high bandwidth HBM memory course. We are currently developing it as we speak. It will end up being a 3-day class. The agenda for this course is on our website, but the course won't be released until June, July of this year. But we are advertising it, taking bookings for the class, which we will then deliver to our customer base starting June, July 2024. The course will also be recorded and be available as a recording. The full agenda for the course, again, is available on our website. Go to the training courses section of the website, click on memory technology, and you'll see the agenda for this course advertised there. All right. This slide essentially lets you know who will benefit from MindShare training. What audience do we target? If you are a design engineer doing verification of the design, or you are designing with VHDL Verilog, and you are working on a low-level design based on IP from Synopsys or Cadence or one of the IP providers, or maybe you are designing a port, a CXL port, or a PCIe port from scratch, you will benefit from MindShare's in-depth training courses. Of course, we also target verification engineers and engineers who are doing, board level debug and validation of protocol on the link. Maybe you are using one of the tools from Agilent or Teledyne LaCroix, and you're using a protocol analyzer and needs to understand the content of the FLITs or TLPs that are passing across the link from one port to the other port. And you've hooked up a protocol analyzer and you're trying to understand what these TLPs or FLITs contain, what are the different fields in the packet. You are going to benefit from MindShare's courses, because we get into the low-level, packet-level details, protocol-level details. Our largest audience consists of validation and debug engineers. If you're a software engineer needing to understand how to initialize a CXL port or a CXL device, or maybe a low-level firmware engineer that is doing CXL platform enumeration and initialization. Maybe you work for an OS company. You're a Linux or a Microsoft OS engineer that is writing the enumerating software for the platform. You will benefit from learning how to initialize a CXL port or device, as we discuss enumeration level details as well as register level details, how to initialize the various registers. If you are an FAE engineer, field application engineer, and needs to understand the features of your product and what is CXL capable of, what are the bandwidth numbers associated with CXL or PCIe, we describe all of that in our detailed architecture level course. But an FAE engineer usually would benefit from our fundamentals shorter courses, since you may not need to understand the low-level details. Technical management, personnel, decision makers, marketing engineers, group leaders who need to understand features and capabilities, but not get into the low-level details. Of course, you would benefit from our overview or fundamentals classes. These are the short courses that are available both as recordings as well as in-person or virtual classroom courses. Finally, a call to action. As I mentioned, if you can afford getting together 15 engineers who can take time away from their day job and take training, then a live training class, whether it be in person, in-house, or as a virtual classroom delivered training course, you would benefit from this type of a class. We typically need about 2 to 3 months of lead time from the time you are investigating booking a class until we actually deliver the course to you. Our calendar tends to book out 2 to 3 months in advance. If you need the course urgently, we might have openings. Or if you have a smaller group that needs training and you want it immediately or want the flexibility of learning over multiple months in a cost-effective manner, remember our e-learning courses that I mentioned will be very, very useful. And just go online, pay by credit card, and start learning immediately from one of our many course offerings. All of our courses have been recorded. As I said, some of the classes are currently being recorded and will be available shortly. Namely, PCI 6.0 update will be available next month. CXL 3.0 updated will be available in a couple of months. So look for them coming soon. Sign up on our website for our newsletter if you want to keep in touch. Get in touch with Frank. Thank you, Frank, for hosting our presentation on the behalf of the Memory Fabric Forum. Finally, if you need to get a hold of MindShare, here is our email ID and phone number. Again, I'm Ravi Budruk. Glad you could listen to our short presentation. You can get a hold of myself, the MindShare CEO, Joe Winkles, or our business manager, Erin DeBarbieri. Thank you.